Hi everybody, it's Andy speaking. This is my second video of hopefully many. But as I mentioned in the first, this is very much really for my own benefit to see what I was thinking and perhaps saying, but also there's an element of accountability because I'm making this video that may or may not help some people. So I hope to be able to continue, and I hope to be able to give the benefit of my experience to date, which I really hope could help some people, because I know that I needed lots of help and lots of stimulus to get to the point where it was time to make a shift. And you know, it's very easy to prejudge people, particularly if you perhaps don't drink, or if you don't have any sort of issue with alcohol at all. And I think this probably applies to all substances. It's very easy to prejudge. And I know that even in my own family, what I kept crying out for is, or not crying out for, that's probably too strong a phrase, but what I kept encouraging them to think about isn't so much criticism, but it's more one of support. It's more one of kindness. It's more one of encouragement than it is, oh God, are you having another beer? Why do you need it? Type of approach. Now that may work for some people, and to a degree, I have to admit, it probably worked for me. But I do actually think it's better if it comes in a more, any sort of criticism or concern is expressed in a more supportive and more constructive way than maybe being critical. Maybe that's something, mums and dads, husbands and wives, daughters and brothers, and brothers out there, and wider friendship groups might want to just consider, if you think somebody's got a bit of an issue, and you think you want to have a chat with them, just let them know you're there. They may not come to your aid. They may not ask you anything, but there is a lovely phrase, and I think it's very, very true. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Just be there to be their teacher in some regard. If nothing else, just to talk to them, because it is a journey that's quite difficult, and it is a journey that will, if you decide to give up alcohol, it really challenges you in many ways. It challenges everything you've probably done for multiple years, in my case 20, 30 years, and all of a sudden this element isn't part of your life, and things change. I think they change for the better, but you've got to go through that experience yourself. One of the things I wanted to talk to you briefly tonight was some of the things that have helped me on my journey. By the way, I'm opening just to let you know, it is a non-alcoholic can of beer. I found for myself, I always like beer as my drink of choice, and I found for myself when I stopped drinking that having a non-alcoholic beer of whatever manufacturer you choose, and there is quite a lot of choice out there if you look for it. I mean, if you go into my local Sainsbury's, they've probably got, I don't know, they've probably got 15, maybe 10, 15 different types of beers and ciders that are non-alcohol free. They've also got some wine, which is absolutely vile, the one I had. I think it's fair to say that I don't think for me they taste as good, but I haven't really compared that in recent months. But I found it's not just the taste, it's just doing it. It's putting it in a glass, it's drinking it. But I use this particular brand, Brewdog, alcohol free. There are others, many others. Some pubs even do alcohol free on tap, which is great when you go out, because for all intents and purposes, nobody's got a flipping clue that you're not drinking. I also use something called Seedlip, which is I don't actually know what it is, but it's it's like a gin, really, and I really enjoy that, where I put in lots of ice, bit of gin, some tonic water, some slices of lemon peel, and it really is it's a nice drink. I know at Christmas, as I tend not to drink at Christmas, that's probably what I'm going to be having. So as everybody else probably gets completely sozzled. That's not true, because not many of them do, but that will be different experience for me. I've never not drunk at Christmas in my, well, I was going to say my lifetime, but clearly when I was a youngster that didn't happen. But now, certainly in my adult life, I can't remember ever not drinking at Christmas, ever. So it's going to be a new experience, and hopefully it will be fine. I'm expecting it to be fine. I've had enough social engagements without alcohol now to know I can cope. That sounds as though it's difficult. It'd be easier to drink than it wouldn't be, but I'd rather not drink right now. Now that may change. So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about a couple of things I mentioned in the first video, things that I think are good foundational books and maybe documentaries worth looking at. I'm only going to mention one today, and that is by a guy that I've met a couple of times, not in relation to alcohol, I have to say, but his name is Jason Vale, and his book is, the actual title is something that's easy to kick the drink, but you'll find it on Amazon or anywhere like that. And it's written sort of, it's written in a way that's quite sort of punchy, and it probably will, you'll find that it will challenge some of the things that you are thinking, if you're thinking of giving up. I won't spoil it for you. Please take a look at it. But I read it probably about 4 or 5 years ago. That proves how long I've been on this journey. And it sort of stayed with me. At least parts of it did. And I think it was just one of those little bits of a foundational block that was put into place as other foundational blocks were put into place over a long period of time, until the wall was high enough, if you like, for me to be able to repel the desire, if you like, to drink. But I think I would recommend that you, if you are drinking right now, and I'm qualified as a medical doctor or anything along those lines, and I guess I'm talking to people that probably, like myself, are social drinkers, but are just questioning whether they perhaps have a little bit too much, rather than somebody that is at some of the extreme ends, where you probably need medical intervention. So, albeit that people who are drinking very small amounts can find themselves in a position where they are very, I say small amounts, where those small amounts usually end up being much larger amounts than they think. But I would recommend, as a general rule, don't give up drinking right now. Get the book, sit down and read it over a period of time, whatever you choose, or get it on Audible or something like that and listen to it, because I think it, as I said, it's just for me, it was just the first foundational block of many, by the way, and it may not resonate with you right now, but I suspect if you're even thinking that you perhaps need a shift, even if it's a little thought in the back of your mind, maybe somebody's told you or a concern for you, but I suspect you know as an individual that you might need to make a change. And I suspect a lot of the concerns and thoughts that you're having will be reflected in this book, because the author has gone through the same journey. He's not known for that. In fact, I think it was his first book he may have written. He's much more known as the Juice Man. He focuses on health through, at least partially through juicing, vegetables in particular, green ones in particular. But I got to know him through that route. So you know him, meet him a couple of times. But actually, his book is quite a useful tool for you to have in your armoury as you move forward. There are other books, and I think there's other. Certainly, there's one documentary that I think is well worth looking at as well. Yes, you can watch the very hardcore stuff if you choose, in terms of, the impacts of people, and there's quite a good documentary. I forget what it's actually called, but it's basically following patients on a liver ward somewhere in the UK. It might be in the Midlands, somewhere like that. And we're talking here about people, at least the ones they followed, who agreed to be interviewed and followed. We're talking about some very, very serious, extreme cases. in the main, not all of them. If you want a bit of shock and awe, that might be a place to go. But there's plenty of stuff out there you can see probably on YouTube. I think right now, if you've got that little thought that maybe you need to have a shift, maybe start with a book, the Jason Vale book, How to Kick the Drink Easily. That's what it's called. It's not expensive. Have a little read. See if that just helps you, maybe challenges you a little bit more. In the meantime, maybe put the drink down.